Hello, and welcome to our Conquest overview. In this video, we'll go through advanced gameplay elements in Starpoint Gemini Warlords. We'll assume that you're familiar with the game's basics, such as movement, camera handling, resource gathering, and how to complete freelance missions, or how to upgrade your ship. We aim to cover some tactical and strategic elements of the game, such as proper equipment usage, resource management, and conquest. We won't be spoiling parts of the story, but certain gameplay elements and features covered here might be more enjoyable to discover on your own. We've made sure to cover most of the important aspects of our game readily available as video tutorials in the Geminipedia panel under the game's menu. With that said, we'll start by choosing one of the several free roam scenarios. They're currently sorted by the starting amount of resources, fleet power, and territory. The Baron scenario seems to fit our experience level quite nicely, because we start off with a level 10 character, a frigate, a handful of resources, and a couple of easy targets in the neighborhood. We begin our journey as the commander of the Concordia Station, a military headquarters and pride of the Solari Concard faction. You can find out more about them in the story campaign mode. We're also given a pretty advanced fleet at the start of the game. Crushing our immediate neighbors isn't going to be a difficult task. Their resource gathering facilities, however, will prove useful. And it seems nobody will care too much about them, since they're just pirates. But before we do that, let's just glance at where we're currently standing with our existing research and infrastructure. We start off with a level 2 hangar module, which means we can build every capital ship all the way to our first super capital vessels, the battleships. A level 3 hangar would allow us to construct the most powerful super capital spaceships. Acquiring more mining operations could help us in the long-term efforts to close in on the required amount of ore. The good news is that we're already starting off with a research module, which means we can start researching important technologies. Once the Severance Rank 2 research project is completed, we'll be able to equip really powerful railguns at our HQ. As for the local pirates, we could of course start expanding right off the bat, but no one likes losing their territory. When you conquer a zone, you can expect some backlash and should prepare to defend the zone from hostile retaking. Even though we have a powerful battleship on our side, our current economy couldn't handle the drain on resources should we slowly start losing ship due to continued hostilities. If we lay low until the research is completed, we could start our expansion and sequentially take over multiple zones, catching the defending faction off guard and weakening them to avoid any attempts at a retaliation. It would also be wise to upgrade our ship and skills to be of greater use during sieges and further help prevent the loss of our ships. You will often encounter pirates or other aggressive factions during your travels. You can choose to engage, but you don't always have to destroy your enemies. There's now an upgraded version of the boarding feature in Warlords. As usual, you'll probably find yourself surrounded by hostiles, while simultaneously boarding your target. So it might be a good idea to eliminate most of them before deciding to board. However, if you successfully capture the ship, you may choose, among other options, to add it to your fleet or dismantle it for a decent amount of materials. One common way to grow in power is by doing freelance missions. There are various synergies between gameplay elements. For example, you could try your luck with the Search and Destroy mission. It rewards you with experience points and credits, but if you manage to capture the designated hostile ship, it will not only count as having been successfully destroyed, but you will also get an option to salvage it for materials. Other gameplay synergies grant different rewards. A more peaceful option would be to take a salvage or a prospector mission. And if you've invested heavily in the appropriate perks, you could easily end up with additional resources on top of rewards in commodities and equipment. Your skills ranks are important as well, as all of them grow significantly in power with each rank. At rank 5, you'll unlock additional game-changing bonuses. For example, the Marauder's Expose skill significantly weakens enemy shields, but the rank 5 bonus is amazing in fleet battles because then the penalty immediately spreads to adjacent hostiles. Now that we feel sufficiently powerful and have stocked on resources, we are ready to jump to our first battle. It's a minor step in our territorial expansion, but the zones we conquer contain important resource collection facilities. As we dispatch of the pirates' meager defenses, it's important to watch for hostile patrolling fleets. They could potentially outnumber us. Thankfully, this is not the case with these reinforcements. Had they been overwhelming, we might have had to retreat. Sometimes when you conquer new territory, you'll notice small pockets of remaining resistance in form of stations with their own miniature zone of influence. This industrial station could boost our resource-gathering structures, such as junk reclaimers. Once captured, such stations will serve as excellent defensive footholds. Should our fleets need to retreat to them, they could expect significant protection from local defense fleets. Upgrading the boarding perks to the highest currently available rank will allow for a more consistent success rate while capturing ships. This in turn could potentially result in more material resources being extracted by salvaging captured ships. We'll also unlock some perks that grant additional resource and credit rewards. Now that we've made a name for ourselves, we should consider scouting nearby territories. The easiest way to gain precious intel is by visiting satellites. Friendly and neutral satellites can be used free of charge to reveal the entire zone they're placed in. Hostile satellites need to be hacked, and unlocking the hacking perk will help us speed up the process. The Gemini system is huge, and you'll quickly learn that you need faster ways of traveling. If you know you have to cover large distances, it might be a good idea to buy some T-drives. These are not that expensive and will help you save a lot of time. Simply equip the T-drive, click on it, and pick your destination. If you're more of an adventuring type, go through the wormhole near the Concordia station and see where it leads you. Wormholes are unstable, which means they won't always be linked with the same exits. You can scan them to find out where they'll lead you until their stability falls to 0%. The T-Gate network provides us with another way of traveling, and can be used to deploy fleets of ships between any two neutral or friendly functioning T-Gates. They need to be constructed on top of wormholes to provide such stability. Discovering new territory will put us in contact with other factions, some of whom might be interested in trading with us. Having a T-Gate network and discovering certain stations sometimes results in trade tasks for our civilian fleets, which might serve as great ways to convert one type of resource to another. Okay, so now that we've captured a few zones, let's quickly check our new status. The star chart is showing us that we have access to new resource production buildings. The captured zones have given us access to more ore, so let's upgrade mining operations to increase the yield. Ore is generally more common than gas, and gas is more common than materials. We will need plenty of ore if we are to upgrade our HQ modules and resource structures. Gas is acquired through gas collectors, and is mostly used in upgrading technologies and fueling civilian tasks, while materials produced by junk reclaimers will help us construct our fleets. We'll need to upgrade some HQ modules to be able to upgrade our resource collection facilities to level 3. Also, it would be a waste to lose all those investments, so it's important that we secure newly acquired zones by upgrading the forward outposts. Let's jump a few hours in. Now that we have enough money and levels, we can purchase some more powerful ship. Some weapons and enhancements that we've researched are now available at the Concordia station's dry dock. They're expensive, but powerful, and they'll serve us well once we decide to attack the more dangerous fleets. Let's queue up a few ships for our new fleet, and pick some random freelance missions while we wait for them to be constructed. Once our fleet is finished, we'll order to merge it with our own ship. We need to spread our territory even more if we are to access some late-game content. New territories will grant us access to resources and various other buildings which grant different bonuses. For example, research stations will decrease the cost of the ships, while research outposts will increase the ship's building speed. These advantages will help us maintain a stable economy. There are other ways of obtaining resources, so let's name a few. The Gemini system is filled with unique locations and structures which will grant you considerable strategic rewards. One of those secret structures might yield more material than a fully upgraded junk reclaimer. Another one might do the same for gas or ore. You'll have to explore the universe to find them, but you should also expect heavy resistance if you decide to capture them. A cunning captain might consider boarding different resource collection facilities, as opposed to risking military resources needed to capture the entire zone. Once you are done conquering sufficient zones, you will notice a huge increase in your weekly resource yield. We will need every last bit of ore, gas and materials if we are to fortify our position while researching and building a proxima. let's jump to a point where we've just unlocked the super weapon research branch. By getting access to this category, we will be able to research a dozen different technologies. Once all of them are completed, you will notice small proxima icons around the planets on the star chart. We can now advance to one of those positions and start assaulting a planet. However, before we are actually able to fire at the planet, fleets defending it will make their final stand and will do their best to destroy the Proxima while it charges its main cannon. If you want to survive this, make sure you have a maxed out fleet behind you and enough equipment to boost your shields and weapons. Otherwise, it might be hard or even impossible to pacify their planetary government. It seems we have to go through a few phases during the siege. First, we're tasked with destroying anomaly generators, which block the beacon that is supposed to help the Proxima warp into battle. Once that's done, we'll have to clear the area of any remaining enemy platforms or ships. Only then can we unleash the Proxima and defend it against the waves of enemies while they try to destroy it. Once the planet has been captured, we'll receive various bonuses from it, and it will serve us well in the upcoming conquest.